Hi, I'm Andrew Ness. I'm the Dean of International at Humber. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this special presentation that's being held as a part of our International Education Week celebration. We spend a lot of our time working with current students and bringing in prospective students and helping them understand how valuable a Humber education is. What's exciting today, though, is we're talking to alumni. So these are students who have come from all over the world, have studied with us, and have gone on to very successful careers and opportunities. We're really happy to be able to share that experience with you, and I hope you enjoy the presentation. Without further ado, here they are.
Hello everyone, my name is Barbara and I'm originally from Brazil. In 2008, I received the great news that I had not only been accepted to Humber College, but I also got a full scholarship to take the program that I wanted so much. I graduated in 2010 in the broadcast television videography at Humber. And it was the first year of that program, and I did not know how much this would help me in my professional career. 10 years have passed, and I'm still making difference, and I'm still using those skills and still getting jobs because I know what I learned at Humber. So after finishing my program, I went back to Brazil and I worked as a TV reporter. And I really felt that everything that I learned at Humber about video, about audio, about editing really helped me to be a better professional because I was working in a partnership with the videographer. I knew about his job. So I really felt at that time that it was making a big difference. And 3 years ago, I decided to come back to Canada and I was blessed to have another scholarship that helped me come and do my master's at Carleton University in journalism. And, other than helping me during the program, because I always felt like I was one step ahead of other students because I had those skills when we had to produce any news stories. After graduating from Carleton, all the opportunities that I got here in Canada to work as a journalist were because I knew the technical skills that I learned at Humber College. I actually was able to freelance for BBC Brazil, for CBC Ottawa, and for another Brazilian television stations because I knew those skills. They needed someone who not only knew how to write, but also were able to shoot and edit their own video stories. And I'm so thankful that I took that program, and 10 years after, I'm still using it. So I'm really grateful. So for the Virtual International Education Week 2020, I had the chance to talk to other alumni from Humber who are doing really well in their careers and are making so much difference. So I wanted to listen now to watch those stories, to see what they're doing and to get inspired. Meet Hannah Lamberta. She completed Emergency Telecommunications Program and Funeral Director class from Humber. Hannah is currently working as a funeral director at Holy Cross Catholic Funeral Home. So first, tell me, what influenced your decision to attend Humber College?
So basically what happened, I decided to go for Humber College because they were the only college, publicly funded Ontario college, that offered funeral directing program in English. So yeah.
Did you have the chance to do any research about the college before?
Oh yes, I did. I did extensive research on where I was going, and Humber was the best fit for me because it was in Toronto where all the jobs are, and again, they were the only college that had the funeral directing program in English, because there are only two colleges that offered funeral services, and the other one was offered in French. So it was a no-brainer.
That's great. And how did your student ambassador position at Humber Global prepared you for your job and the real world?
So, being an international student ambassador, it allowed me to talk and exercise my customer service and customer relation skills. And that is what's most important in the field that I am in. So I got to interact with people in a day-to-day basis whenever I was working at Humber International Center, and that kind of prepared me for my role now as as a funeral director, where you engage with people, and it's a service industry.
And can you share your volunteer experience with us and how valuable do you think it is?
Yes, so when I got to Humber, of course it's a new country, right? Didn't have like I didn't have a Canadian work experience, so I figured, just so that I could boost my resume, make it more palatable to future employers, I should get like volunteer work. And I know that here in North America, especially, volunteer work is highly regarded. It's a strong point on your resume. So I decided to volunteer at Humber's Arboretum. So it's the because Humber has huge grounds, and it's kind of what they do for the environment around them, so I decided to volunteer for Humber's Arboretum, and then um, I also volunteered as a peer mentor under one of Humber's services for their students. And as a peer mentor, I help students transition, uh, new students, incoming students, transition into college life here at Humber. I also volunteered as an orientation leader. So basically, what an orientation leader does is, you know how orientation is at Humber, right? Like so many students coming in, and getting around. They need to know how to get around the campus, and it's a week-long event. So that's what I did. I helped organize the orientation. I helped direct students and parents, and potential Humber students to their respective rooms or wherever they wanted to be.
Oh, that's great. That's great experience. And do you think international education is important? And if you do, why?
Yes, I definitely do, because it's a different world out there. It's a rapidly changing world, and um, an international education would really set you apart from all the other competitors in your field. So if your employer has seen that this person is an internationally educated person, so that would just that may be the key into like hiring you over someone else who doesn't have an international education, because it's a globalized world out there, and you need globalized education.
Especially in a country like Canada, right? When you have
Hmm.
so many different countries and backgrounds.
Yes,
That's great. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us and share your story and your experience.
you're welcome. Always a pleasure.
So meet Ivan Casadesus. He completed his project management postgraduate certificate from Humber. Currently, he's working as a project manager at Gensler. Ivan was recently appointed as client relationship leader in the Toronto office, to manage key clients in the Canadian market, including provincial government services. So let's start asking you, why did you decide to work in this industry?
Well, I have a bachelor's degree in architecture from my home country, Venezuela. I decided to be an architect when I was kind of 8 years old, when I was very young, and I felt so attracted to the models and the drawings and all that. And I felt that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So, yes, I just started my career as an architect. Pretty soon I had the chance to run my office and my firm. And then for the last, I would say the last 15 years, what mostly I've been doing is project management. So I get to the management side of my profession.
Okay, that's great. And what influenced your decision to attend Humber College's project management certificate? Like, why Humber?
Well, first of all, my wife attended a program at Humber, a postgraduate home at Humber College around 15 years ago. So when we met, she was already a Humber alumnus. So she spoke to me about her experience in Canada and specifically in Humber College because we met there back home. So I always had this in mind as an option because I wanted to have this experience of international education. And of course, Canada was my first choice.
And then after so many good things she said about Humber, you wanted to have the same experience.
Absolutely, yes. So I did my own research too, and most of the things that she told me were completely accurate. So we came into this conclusion. Yes, there's definitely. When we decided to come to live here in Canada, the first option for me was always attending Humber College, and of course, the project management program was a perfect fit for my career because that actually allowed me to get into the industry, the local industry.
That's great. And how relevant to your work is your education? And what role has your education at Humber played in shaping your career in Canada?
It is absolutely relevant. So I apply the tools that I learned in project management postgraduate program. I could say that I applied it almost every day. So of course, not all the rules, some of them, but it depends on the situation, it depends on the project, it depends on the client. But right now, I'm having a position in the office as a senior project manager. So I'm also in part in charge of the business development. So when we got a request for a proposal, I take it, I read it, and I prepare the proposal on behalf of the office. So I have to do a staffing, I have to do a scheduling, I have to do everything that. And right now we have a very recent project that is a large and complex project that implies the coordination of different offices. For instance, in our firm, we have 48 offices around the world. And I'm right now managing a project with 3 different offices with New York, Las Vegas, and Toronto office. This is just us, but then on top of that, you have all the other offices that are involved and firms that are involved in the project. So, for instance, stakeholder management is a great tool, and basically scheduling is very important because we have to align all the schedules with the overall schedule from the owner, on the client in this case. So it's I am applying those tools every day.
Oh, that's great to hear. So, what advice would you like to give our students and those who are in the beginning of their career?
I would say, well, it is very personal the path that you're taking. So all the experiences are very unique. But I would say try to learn as much as possible from any source you can learn. Don't settle only with the information that you're getting in the program. It is great, it is amazing, but take it a further step and try to get a bit more of understanding of your field specifically. What are the current trends in your field, what is going to happen, what is foreseen in as a potentially could happen in the future, what's gonna set the market in the future for your industry or your field. That it's very important.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing this beautiful story with us. Good luck with everything.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Barbara, and thanks for this opportunity. I really enjoy it.
You're welcome. Hi everyone, meet Ashoni Patel. She completed her Bachelor's of Industrial Design from Humber College and is currently working as a product development consultant at Canadian Tire. So to start, first tell me, why did you choose Humber College?
Okay, so about 4 years, 5 years ago, wow, it's been a while since I've come to Canada. I decided to study abroad, and I had a few countries in mind. Canada was probably top of the list because of the immigration laws. And then there's only a couple colleges in all of Canada that offer industrial design. And Humber is the only one that offers the perfect balance of science and technology along with art and design, which is why I chose to come to Humber.
Okay, that's great to hear. And how did your internship and student ambassador position at Humber Global prepared you for the position at Canadian Tire? Because I believe you interned for the international office, right?
That's correct. So I've done a couple of internships throughout my time at Humber. One of which was mandatory, which I think is very important. So the first internship I did was at Humber International or Humber Global now, and I worked as a graphic design intern and to create all the new icons for the international strategization. And that was interesting because it allowed me to take from my program all the software that I've learned and apply it in a new way, which I wouldn't normally apply in my own industry. So that was very like lots of industry knowledge. It kept improving my knowledge of how to use these software. So that was very important. And I think what I learned from being a student ambassador at the International Center was how to communicate with people from different cultures, because Canada is such a melting pot of different diverse cultures that you learn to I don't know, like speak with people, understand what they're saying. Sometimes people come from different countries and the way they speak over there might be different. So like having the calm and coolness to understand and sympathize or empathize with them was very important.
That's great. So now that you are actually like working in the field, what do you think, like, can you think of things that you've learned in your course that really helped you, like being a professional?
Mm-hmm. So definitely as I talked about it earlier, the industry experience made a big difference. Knowing how to communicate with people is very important, especially being able to present yourself professionally. Like in my job, I speak with people from China, Vietnam, our vendors are in America as well. So like having to like that understanding of what you're talking about and being confident in what you're talking about is something that I really learned at Humber. And additionally, all the skills, like all the softwares that I've learned, like the skills of being able to sketch well, being able to present well, all of those things made it easier to do this job and got me where I am right now.
That's great. And you were an international student, right?
That is correct.
What do you think is the importance of having international education?
I definitely think that your perspective and your worldview changes when you're an international student. For example, for myself, I grew up in India all my life, came here when I was 19, didn't realize how many different cultures there are or how different these cultures can be. And being able to accept all of that, understand it, and then apply it to my design work has made a big difference. So in comparison to people or my classmates who've only ever been in Canada or only ever studied in Canada, I bring this different worldview to my designs. And that's definitely a very important aspect of being an international student.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Hope you have a good day.
You too. Midral Singh, he completed his paramedic certificate from Humber College and is the founder and executive director of David McAnthony Gibson Foundation, which operates as Global Medic. And can you tell us about the David McAnthony Gibson Foundation, founded in '98 to honor the memory of your best friend?
Yeah, so just remember, I go to Humber in 91, 92, or maybe it was 92, 93. I would have to go back and look at those records, assuming they're written on some scroll somewhere. And just a few years later, you know, my best friend's passing away. I'm working in Nepal on a rescue unit, and then I'm coming home to his funeral, and I decided to start this agency to honor his memory. And the agency is all about, you know, getting aid to people and in cutting out the ridiculous bureaucracy and all the waste that exists.
So what advice would you give to our students and those who are in the beginning of their career?
Yeah, you know, that's a good one, right? I always think that you got to balance a line of confidence. Like, you know, you should be confident, but not cocky, right? Every opportunity is something to learn. You know, and most times you can learn and improve what you're doing. So always take that opportunity. Like, even if you fail at something, don't like learn to admit failure and understand where you've made a mistake and then how not to repeat that mistake. I also think that you got to keep fighting. Like, I mean, you know, if you stop fighting and you give up, you're not going to get there. And that's part of the key. So you have to keep moving forward. Like, you can't give up. And I mean, it's very funny because a lot of people will tell you no, and a lot of people will say you can't do that or it won't work. And I honestly like hearing that now because we want to prove them wrong. And we had this program that Humber students designed. So the two managers right now that work for me, who again were Humber grads and started as interns here, well, they designed this emergency food program where we took the advice of Syrian refugees, these women that are now chefs in Canada, and they designed meals for us that we could go back into Syria with, these dry pack meals that we could give to families in the camps, and they could, you know, basically pour the bag into a boiling pot and make a culturally appropriate, healthy, tasty local meal called mujadra. And we said, look, all I want to do is give you healthy food to eat that you're going to like to eat, and I want to drive costs down. And people said you could not do it. So when we did it and we started the program, then we heard you'll never get it to scale. Well, after we gave 1 million meals out in the first year and we could do it for 33 cents a meal, now everyone was like, how can you do that? How can we do this? You know, like, can you show us the tricks here? So it's that whole, every time someone tells you no, just keep fighting.
That's great. That's great advice. And I want to thank you so much for sharing your story and your experience with the viewers.
All right. Thank you. All right. Take care.
So meet Amanda Richer. She completed her film and media production degree program from Humber College and is currently working in the film industry. How exciting is that? Thank you so much, Amanda, for talking to us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
How relevant to your work today is your education, and what role has your education at Humber played in shaping your career, especially because you were able to take 2 courses at Humber?
So, like, it's so funny how, like, you know, everything that I've taken at Humber has really played a role in my career thus far, like with acting and my job as an ASL coach. And, you know, taking training in acting, I'm able to work with the actors and really like break down the script and really like, okay, this is what you're going to do here, and incorporate the ASL, like, because it's very language based. And, you know, a lot of acting is listening and receiving and communicating. And then, you know, bringing in ASL with that, it just makes that so much better. You know, it just really heightens everything, because acting is very, like, you know, it's an emotional thing.
Can you just tell, maybe people don't know what the ASL coach is? Can you explain a little bit about the work you do?
Yeah, so an ASL coach is an American Sign Language coach. And what I do is, if a film or a TV show has a character that has to learn sign language, they call me and I come in and I teach them their the dialogue that they have to say. So I was fortunate enough to work on The Shape of Water. So I spent 4 or 5 months working with Sally Hawkins and just, you know, having her from day one to the last day.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. So yeah. What advice you would give to someone who is just starting, you know, the beginning of their career in your field?
You know, if the film industry is really what you want, like, get out and, you know, meet people. Like, that's like number one. You get jobs by meeting people, and it's all about who you know. That's what I meant to say. It's all about who you know. And, you know, I got my first job on set because I tweeted at a director. I was like, hey, listen, I have internship hours. My friend worked with you and she said you were awesome. Can I have a job? And she tweeted me back and was like, can you start tomorrow? And I was like, yes. So, get out there. If it's what you want to do, like, knock on doors, make phone calls, like find out where you can find jobs, like those Facebook pages. And, if school is what you want to do, definitely enroll in a course just so you can understand the basic knowledge of different equipment, how to work with actors, how to read a call sheet, and like ranking order, like from the director down to a PA, or, if it's your passion, don't let anything stop you. So definitely, just keep going on the path. And of course, doors are going to close, but other ones will open.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and your story with the viewers.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Meet Vitaly Starov. He completed his sports management program from Humber College, and he's currently working as SEO strategist at Omnicom Media Group. Did I say it right?
Yes, that's correct.
That's good. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So I guess we'll start asking what influenced your decision to attend Humber College?
So I was looking into a few different colleges throughout the world. Like my parents really wanted me to study abroad, and we looked into Canada, United States, UK, Australia. But Canada had the best sports management program from what I could tell at that time. And I was really into sports. I did sports as a child, and that was kind of like my main passion. So I really wanted to study that program, and Humber College had it. So yeah, that's kind of how it all happened.
Okay, and can you tell us more about your position and what your day at work looks like?
So I work as the SEO strategist, and I manage a few major accounts in our company. So the day-to-day work is just communicating with the client, making sure that we're on the same page in terms of their content strategy and how they're building their content on their website, everything that relates to website architecture or any other minor technical elements on the websites we are in charge of. So we just always want to make sure that the websites are fully optimized and they're running without any issues. And our job is basically to make them really, really easy to Google to understand. So, it crawls them easily, and that way we could rank them up in the Google search engine.
And what advice you would give to our students, those who are in the beginning of their career, especially in your field?
One thing that I always regret looking back is that I don't think I did enough outside of the curriculum. So with that being said, anything that you can do, like get yourself involved in volunteering or working or doing any interesting projects that you think will give you connections or skills. It doesn't really matter as long as you get something out of it. That's the main goal, I think. And yeah, just I would also say try to learn as much as you can while you have the opportunity, because then you might not even have too much time to do that.
Yeah, I would say the college offers us so many opportunities, right?
Yeah.
While in school, and people should really take advantage.
Exactly. And when you're in school, your focus is solely on education. So that's kind of the time to try to get as much as you can out of it. Yeah, that's probably my biggest advice.
That's a great tip. Thank you so much for sharing all those tips in your story with us.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.